What's up, guys? Happy Friday. Maryland rolls yesterday. Start off hot, finished hot against USC. USC is pretty good. I actually enjoy watching some of their guards play. I haven't seen a ton of them this year. Eric Musselman, their coach, is easily frustrated. Called a timeout. It was 6-0. He called a timeout to start the game. We were kicking their ass the whole way through. They made it, I think it was 65-59 was the closest they got. And I just violated my rule by taking the under for the game. All I had to do was take the under for USC's team points. Same way I do with the Orioles, which is never bet the under for the actual game. Bet against the other team's team total because it's just not going to be fun at the end of the game, really throughout the game. So I don't know why I did that. Just thought 155 was way too many. And then Maryland, of course, goes on a little run at the end. And it was just, game goes over. So it is what it is. Maryland rolls it. They're covering all these games lately, these big spreads, but scared me away. 12 and a half points, and turns out wasn't enough. So Maryland rolls 17, 88-71. They look great. These last couple of games down the stretch, plus the Big Ten tournament, is it's really exciting to be a Maryland fan. So speaking of down the stretch and games that Maryland has to play, they're going to play Michigan and Michigan State, and that's the game tonight. Hopefully we can get this one right again. I do like Michigan State. It's plus 3.5. They're headed to Michigan. Should be a great game tonight. Michigan's, I believe they're overachieving right this second. They've won their last 5 or 6 games in a row, but they're all very close games and they just don't have the horses to keep up with Michigan State. The home crowd should be somewhat of a factor if it was a team besides Michigan State, but this defensive juggernaut that Michigan State's producing. So I'm going to roll with the under for Michigan's total team points, and I'm going to roll with Michigan State. 3.5 just seems like it should be a pick'em game, if anything. Michigan State's significantly better. Their defense is just outstanding. So I've been on them for the past few games. Watch that one tonight if you're able to. Game's at 8. That should be a great one. And then I also like the under with Villanova and Marquette. I think it's going to be a rock fight. Specifically, I'll do the under in the first half just because it could be a tight game. You get overtime situation, and I just have a feeling the game will start off ugly. You never know exactly how it'll finish. That's what I made the mistake with Maryland yesterday. I think that game really is going to turn me away from unders in the conference tournaments and the NCAA tournament. Period. Just take unders for first half because, just whatever, guys. If you think a team's going to struggle to start the game, just roll with that. Taking the under for the whole game is just dicey with all the fouls and potential overtime. So lost that one yesterday. I think that's going to be my lesson. And I like the under for the first half with Nova and Marquette tonight. Nova's pretty much finished. The post Jay Wright era has been fruitless to say the least. What's his name? Kyle Neptune just hasn't been able to get it going. Marquette's really good. I'm surprised they're only 1.5 point favorites. I lean towards Marquette, but it's not the greatest matchup. Eric Dixon, the big guy for Villanova, is really tough. Marquette did beat him earlier in the year, so we'll see. I do like Michigan State a lot, though, tonight. So I'll put that out here in a moment. And I just wanted to comment for a few minutes, and then I running up against time today, so I do got to roll. But Santander said he did an interview with the Baltimore Sun where he said the Orioles made him an offer for 3 years, and they said that we made him an offer, with the timeline after we signed O'Neill. So it was really interesting to think about that because I thought I was done analyzing all the Orioles, off-season moves and just kind of ready for spring training. But I'm really curious on what they were thinking by offering Santander that because if that was just like a rumor or you kind of heard that, you would dismiss it because it doesn't really make any sense unless they were ready to move Kerstad and Santander, they would have just plugged him in. But even then, kind of seems like that there wasn't going to be enough playing time for him and Tyler O'Neill and Mountcastle and Ryan O'Hearn. So just kind of odd that that would come out right as spring training starting. That Santander would do an interview with our local newspaper and comment about that the Orioles offered him a 3-year deal after signing Tyler O'Neill. So who knows exactly what's going on? I have no reason to think he's just making that up. But maybe the Orioles have a move in them. Maybe they don't. I think the most interesting thing to keep in mind when it comes to the Orioles and just baseball in general right now, if you're looking at the business side of it, is they canceled their relationship with ESPN. So starting next year, they're going to have some sort of new agreement with streaming service or wherever they're not news TV channel, wherever they're going to end up. Most likely it'll be an Amazon, Apple, Netflix situation. I doubt that they're going to traditional broadcast TV, but ESPN hasn't really invested in baseball. They've pretty much transitioned to football and basketball. And yeah, so that's one thing. And then the second thing is the CBA ends after the World Series in 2026. So we got two more baseball seasons. I assume they coincide with each other because this new deal is going to set the tone for what the revenue is going to look like here for baseball, because the majority of the revenue comes from these TV deals. Be very interesting. The regional sports networks are not profitable. That's a whole nother can of worms to go down, but they're not profitable the way they used to be. A lot of them have gone bankrupt. So it's very interesting to see what's going to happen. The relevance to the Orioles and the Orioles players is Rubenstein and his group is not going to commit to any sort of significant financial investment in any player until the CBA gets finalized. Unless Adley or Gunnar or Westberg, Cowser, if they want to take a really, really, really big discount, that might be one thing they're going to entertain. But it's going to be interesting because it's not going to be a friendly, like there's going to be a work stoppage, 100%. They're not going to have a deal with that. They set it up that way, so they have the off season to kind of negotiate for a couple months. But I don't know where things are going to head. But there's a lot of people with a lot of different opinions, and baseball players have enjoyed no salary cap since forever now, and they're not going to want to give it up. I don't know what the owners can incentivize for them to consider doing so. And if they don't, I don't know. The baseball owners have, collusion. It's not, my business to say if it's actual legal or illegal, but there's clearly been an effort over the years from these owners to just not do large contracts, except for the super elite players. Happened again this year. And O'Neill's contracts like that. It's not, there's no long-term commitment. So I just think we're going to have to wait 2 more years, this year and then next year, see what the CBA rolls out, and then we'll see what the Orioles spend and what the rules are. But I imagine that was the main reason why Burns didn't get the contract. At the end of the day, listen to Rubenstein's remarks. I think for negotiating purposes and for leverage purposes, the owners want to have the least amount of long-term contracts going into the CBA renegotiations, and the new owner syndrome in Rubenstein, I think it strengthens his position to not invest that money. So anyway, it's my 2 cents. Should be fun Orioles season. The Orioles are going to be competitive. It's hard to imagine a world where they're not. I just don't know what the ceiling is. I think everybody would probably agree that the analysis of the Orioles, what the ceiling is, basically revolves around the progression of their 4 or 5. If you want to put Jackson in there, Jackson, Gunnar, Adley, Cowser, and Westberg, those 5 guys, how much better do they all get? Obviously, there's other players on the team, but in order for them to reach World Series ceiling, you got to see a gigantic jump from those guys. And so all right, that's I got to run. Now I'm a soccer coach. That's a story for another day, but I am a soccer coach, so I got to go. Have a good day. Good luck on the games tonight. I'm going to type this up here in a moment. But yeah, Michigan State, if you haven't watched them, you're in for a treat. Maryland's going to have a really tough matchup with them. Michigan, I just don't think they have the horses. I think Michigan's overrated. They seem like a team that's going to lose in the first round. They turn the ball over at a ridiculous rate. So they have a great record, but they turn the ball over. I think it gets to them tonight. Michigan State rolls. So, all right, good luck. See you guys.